It is day 2 of Oshkosh Live, powered by Redbird Flight. The sun has risen over Whitman Regional Airport. The sun is shining. The warbirds are chirping. It is a beautiful day.
It's a beautiful day
to be here at Oshkosh. It is 70 degrees and sunny. It's spectacular. I am Sean Bean, and my intrepid co-host today is the mind behind digital content for the Firecrown Aviation Group and the founder and editor of Airline Geeks, Ryan Ewing. What's up, buddy?
Great to be here, Sean. How you doing? How was your night last night?
Well, it was
great.
great.
A great award show yesterday for the company.
Amazing award show. I know that you're staying at the campground. Redbird put me up at the Four Seasons Appleton, so I slept probably far better than you.
Yeah.
Why my energy level is so high.
Yeah.
But anyway, great to be with you. So you and I don't get to talk too much. Tell me about what's exciting in your universe in the world of digital content related to flying, Airline Geeks, Plane and Pilot, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so the media group's made a really big investment in digital content. And that's not to say that we're not also investing in print, but right now we're seeing a lot of value in how we deliver digital content to our audience. So in the past couple months, we've rolled out very streamlined, brand new websites on flying, Plane and Pilot, and AvWeb. Three of four of our largest digital properties, and so far it's been met with a lot of good feedback from the audience, and we hope you'll check it out. We've done some really good work with that so far, so it's been great. Flying, eventually we're going to roll out a comment section so we can really let the audience engage with the content that's there. We already have that on AvWeb, and Plane and Pilot will eventually get it too. So we've been doing a lot of work on that front, and we've a lot of meaningful investments, and it's really exciting stuff.
Well, I got to say, one of the things, and whether or not we'll have time for it right now, but hopefully over the course of the day, is Ryan has a really cool story. A young entrepreneur started Airline Geeks, founded it, and was ultimately acquired by Craig Fuller at Firecrown. Maybe quick, can you give us a 15-second history?
15-second history, yeah. So I started my career in aviation. I've been around the industry. I basically grew up around it. So I started the Airline Geeks website because I always was really interested in the airline industry world, and started that when I was in high school. And over about 10, 12 years, it's grown into a pretty large brand, and obviously now part of the Firecrown portfolio, doing the commercial aviation side, kind of complementing our other properties. So I've worked in the airline industry. I've worked in charter. I've been around a little bit.
Not only can this guy talk aviation, all sides of it, up and down, he is also the absolute best person to consult on airports to fly in and out of, who have the best
lounges.
I've
turned into our company travel agent a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, you earned it.
Well, it's okay. I'll ask for my commission later.
Yeah, I'll mention an airport, and he'll be like, eh.
Yeah.
We won't mention those here. We love
all of our airports.
We do.
Except Newark.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it is, again, we can already see the thoroughfare here at Nav Street starting to fill in. The air traffic control tower, the busiest in the world this week, is right out here outside our Redbird booth. And I want to give a shout-out to Charlie Gregoire and everybody at Team Redbird for being awesome hosts yesterday, today, and all week. We're going to be here doing all kinds of good stuff. We're going to have editors from all the Firecrown aviation brands. Obviously, Ryan Ewing already here. Representation from Plane and Pilot, aviation consumer, kit planes, flying, of course. So, and we're going to be seeing that. We're going to see a lot of really cool produced segments out in the field, see some aircraft walk-arounds over the course of today, and a few legends, industry partners, colleagues are going to be by the desk as well. So stick with us. 4 hours of coverage here at Oshkosh Live. Ryan, anything you're particularly looking forward to today, or what's happening?
Got a lot of good lineups out there today. I know a lot of people have already been over to see the Pratt & Whitney 747 SP. 747 SP is a very rare airplane. I can't remember the number, but there's not many in the world, so it's very cool to have one right here. DC-8, too, is here, and that Samaritan's Purse DC-8 is actually the only one in the U.S. left that's still in active service, and obviously those came out decades ago. And then later today, around 10 a.m., Delta's flying in a 321neo with a whole bunch of employees on it. So that'll be a pretty cool centerpiece over at Boeing Plaza.
Yeah, and there's not one but two Goodyear blimps here that our intrepid producer Kaylee Nix is going to be on in the next couple of days. So we're very excited about that segment, and you'll be seeing that over the next couple of days here on Oshkosh Live, powered by Redbird Flight, which seems like our amazing sponsor, our amazing partner, seems like a perfect segue to get into our first guest of the day. Someone I had a great time talking to last year, and I want to introduce right now, and that is Director of STEM Education for Redbird Flight, the one, the only, Greg Rourke is at the Oshkosh Live desk. Thank you, sir, for being with us.
Yeah, Sean, good to see you.
Right.
Good to see you, Brian.
And obviously, everybody at home can see Greg and I both have the same stylist, really pushing us in the same direction. These are things that Ryan, as you can see, can't understand, right?
Yep, he'll get there.
He'll get there one day.
Yeah.
Well, I think the best place to start, Greg, is obviously we are here at the desk. A lot of action here in the Redbird booth, but certainly had our eye on you yesterday, teaching the youth, working with them. And I got to just tell you, it is just such a wonderful scene just to stand back and watch you do your thing. It's so impressive. And I just want to say that first and foremost. I hope you get a lot of love and appreciation from your students and the parents of those students. But it is really a sight to see.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's great. We figured this is my 11th year that I've been doing these labs here. And one of the coolest things, you kind of alluded to that a bit, is when you see the students now that you have had in these classes here. And remember, these are just quick, just brief lessons that we have. And you see that fuse that it lights in these kids. To now have some of these kids coming back years later who, A, have flown into Oshkosh themselves with this. Now they're bringing their younger brother in here for this. You have these girls that are out here right now coming in here showing me their pictures of Orville and Wilbur, on this thing where they have become pilots. And it's the coolest thing. I mean, it really is. So I'm blessed in getting to do this.
Well, I got to say, everybody can see it at home, but for those of us here in the Redbird booth, you can look out, and this morning before the booth opened and see kids and their parents waiting in line to, get with Greg, be a part of one of the seminars or the courses here. Not quite like a Guns N' Roses concert, but there was a good group of kids and parents standing out here asking questions, waiting to get in, trying to get signed up. So the word is spreading, Greg.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's awesome. Every year it seems to grow. Every year you have more and more people. Every year you have people who sign up sooner and sooner. And it's like you get here and, most of the classes, they start filling up pretty good. We still try to leave room, just for those of you that are watching at home. We're still leaving room for people to come up day of so that as space permits, be able to get your 6th grade through 12th grader in here and have some fun.
Ryan, where did as far as like your education and coming into the world, did you have any formality to it, or how did you come into the world?
Well, I always was a big I like the sort of business side of aviation. But that's not to say I didn't take flight lessons.
Sure.
And I actually, in college, I went to Arizona State University, and we had a Redbird sim of our own, and that's how I kind of really fell in love with kind of being out there. And
well, how cool is that?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Hey, I did a better job than you did last year flying.
No, I just like how you connected those dots. Like a little bit of your backstory. You brought it back to the sponsor. You brought it back to Greg. So, well done.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was a great fun time, to be able to go down and just kind of do some proficiency, kind of try different scenarios, and we had a lot of fun with it, and helped out a lot of our instrument students and everybody really. So it was great. It was great stuff.
Greg, I've actually digging some dirt on the internet on you. Ended up on the Redbird site and read a couple articles that you had written and posted there. And forgive me, this is a few years old, but you had written a piece in 2020, and you were kind of talking about the pros and cons of online learning. Mm-hmm. And obviously 2020 kind of changed the world as it relates to people being together when they learn or doing it remotely. Without putting you on the spot to kind of remember that article, but maybe tell us a little bit, because obviously so much of this, obviously right here, is hands-on learning right in front of you, but certainly to get the word out, you need that online connection. Tell me a little bit how you balance those two, the pros, the cons, the challenges, the opportunities as it relates to reaching people in person versus, online, as it were.
It's there's a time and a place and a proper situation for like all of it. As Ryan mentioned, the digital part of things like this, it's like it or not, it's just part of where we are. That first outreach piece, that distance learning element of things like that, for a lot of students is going to be their first exposure into something. And so with that, there are certain very effective things that you can do from a distance learning standpoint, but at some point, you're going to have to come in and lay hands. And at some point, you are going to have to come in here and put your hand on the throttle quadrant and feel that yoke and to feel the things going on. So there's a balance of that, that's kind of been my experience. We had a situation clearly that we all remember that we were forced into that here as well. But then we do have certain programs that are still running that offer that distance learning piece, and then they have the rotational element where the students that are watching these courses online then can come into a lab similar to mine here and actually be able to do the practical part of it.
Very cool.
That's very cool.
It also says our producer, again, digging during you putting notes together. Here's one of our bullet points. Will get emotional if you bring up his students. So obviously ratings soar with tears. So if I could get you to maybe tell a story about the student who has touched your heart the most, and do not be afraid to really let the waterworks go.
Oh,
so
come on! You've got the tissues, right? You got that.
We can use the Redbird hat to dab your eyes if you need to.
Awesome. No, I mean you do this as long as I have. I've been doing this for like 18 years now, and you do this long enough, and any instructor like that will have these students that will come through, and all of a sudden you get this phone call kind of out of the blue, no pun, and you hear these stories about the awesome things that these kids are doing. And it's so rewarding, and it really is, because anybody who teaches, anybody who's been in that classroom, there's more than just one time when they kind of look out there and they go, why am I doing this? And then you get these kids that do these awesome things. I got kids flying F-15s in Germany. Got a former kid out here who's doing awesome stuff with Thunderbirds. I've got kids that are working here as electronic engineers at Boeing. I got kids that are in all branches of the military doing all sorts of things. And then I have kids that have taken a lot of these skills that they learned in our sim lab, because it's not all about the pointy end of the airplane. I mean, there's so many other things that they learned through here. All of these soft skills that everybody was talking about, these are necessary skills. And the teamwork, the decision making, all of these things that they have done, the way that they have laid out their lives by practicing the skills that they use in labs like this all over the country, so that it's not just the people who want to become pilots or want to become any form of an aviator. You've got these other kids that go through this that are now succeeding in life. And that's really, to me, the most rewarding part of that.
Yeah.
Because, we're going to build pilots. We're going to do that. I mean, you got these little rock stars that walk in here all day long. You're going to build pilots. What do you do with the other 80% of those kids that come into those classes? That's the part that really, that I really try to focus on, to make sure that they have these transferable skills that regardless of what they decide to do, they're going to be great.
So
no tears, by the way.
No tears. You did a good job.
All right,
I can see the viewership plummeting. Thanks, Greg. Well done. Anyway, Ryan, did you? I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
So you're talking about the number of years you've been doing this, and it, to me, seems like would date back to ostensibly the beginning of the company, right? As far as how long you've been here doing this, is that about from the start?
Well, yeah. I mean, Redbird started kind of before I did. So I started this journey kind of back the latter part of 2007, the beginning of 2008. With that, I was a Redbird customer before I became a Redbird employee. So the programs that I built programs in a couple different states, and using Redbird equipment. Plug for Redbird here with that, but it was everything: the support, the fact that you've got kids sawing away on equipment like this all day long with that, and so it's got to be robust. It's got to work. So I went with Redbird, and over time there was a thing that we did at my last school in Colorado. We did a thing called the Round the World Flight Challenge, and as we do this, kind of gearing up for it, Charlie Gregoire, they brought in a film crew, and they did this thing, when they were doing the Wings to Oshkosh deal, and they had one of the employees kind of part of the team. And Charlie saw exactly what I had been telling him, for years about kind of, this part of the market and the importance of being able to offer these types of experiences to kids. And when he was there, he's like, I get it.
Yeah.
I see that now.
Awesome.
And so that's kind of when the talks sort of started to begin to say, come into the light. Come into the light, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's been awesome. The support to be able to cast a wider net. We're in hundreds of school districts now across the country, and that part is just so cool. It's so rewarding because that was my dream at the very, very beginning, is to be able to say, how do I do this? How do you scale this? How do you get this into more kids' hands? And it's been very, very cool that they've allowed me to be able to do that. So.
Well, that's a perfect segue because we actually have one of the mini stories from the Redbird STEM education. We have a video teed up to tell us the story of one of the students who's been a part of that program. Take a look.
The wonderful thing about aviation is it makes STEM tangible. There was a number of us in this area, in the local area, and across the industry that have spent a lot of time talking about, again, our workforce development challenges and how do we encourage people to find a pathway into the industry. And we realized that the younger that the kids are that get introduced to aviation, the more sticky that is. We had an opportunity to put a school on an airport. Which really is a great motivator. I mean, the Colorado Skies Academy today is on the approach end to one of the runways at Centennial Airport, so our kids can look out the door and see airplanes landing and taking off, and it's just reinforcement to their studies. So we thought that would be a great opportunity, and then we decided that really middle school was the right age to make that introduction. And over the last 5 years, it's proven to be a good decision. We're starting that spark here at an early age. So part of that stickiness that I'm talking about is as they go through these different projects that have an aviation focus, they're doing things that's tangible that they can hold in their hands, and it makes sense. And so our kids love that, and so they continue to do these projects. Because they're interesting and they're meaningful, and it makes the math that they use or the science that they apply something that they understand.
I just kind of like airplanes in general. They're really fascinating to me.
Yeah. Some of my favorite subjects are history, science, and reading. I really enjoy aerospace because I've really liked space. When I was younger, I had my birthday party at a planetarium, just because I love space so much. What else?
I mean, it's really neat to just continuously be awestruck by some of the stuff they bring in, like that drone right there. It wasn't always there. It was only brought in last quarter, I believe. So yeah, they interchange all the planes. It's very unique. Yeah.
If I had to wait until high school or maybe college to learn about aerospace, it would be more challenging because middle school is kind of gets into your head more because you don't know less. It'll kind of be cemented when you get into high school. It also just frees up classes. So instead of maybe doing basic aerospace in the first start of high school, you might be getting into advanced parts all in the same year. Another
exciting part of our program is the use of flight simulators and the ability to get our kids a chance to fly. So we have a Redbird simulator that we put them in. We also bring them over to Exploration of Flight to fly the full motion simulator. And for them, it's taking what they're working on in paper and in theory and actually applying it to a hands-on environment, and it excites them, and we see our kids coming back over and over again wanting that lesson over, to have that opportunity to fly a sim. And it's for them, it's taking again something it's not a game, and they understand it's not a game. They're taking a tangible lesson, a tangible problem, and solving that problem and flying it then in the airplane. And so that's I think also a great takeaway is they recognize this is real world, and they look out the window, they see real airplanes flying, and they can relate what they just learned on the simulator to what they see happening on the runways out here.
It's just nice being able to fly and doing Landings that are not good for commercial pilots, but pretty good for middle schoolers.
I actually do simulators like flying the planes and learning about them too.
Do you enjoy that?
Yeah, I think it's really fun.
This is about growing the workforce from the inside out, and so when you expose young people at an early age, they have an opportunity to see what kind of jobs, what kind of career, what kind of life aviation and aerospace might be. I wish I would have had that when I was that age, but to be exposed to it and to see what a great industry is. I mean, we're an industry that has tremendous career opportunities and a lifetime career pathway that's just fantastic. So they get to see it at 10, 11, 12 years of age.
So my goal is to become an entrepreneur later in life, and one of the main companies I'm interested in forming is like an airline of sorts.
When I really want to be, when I grow up, I either want to make rockets or be an archaeologist. With the rockets in aerospace, we learn how they're made and how the history of them, how they've been made, and how they're still working on them becoming better in the future, and things like that. Just already knowing how they work and the parts in them, I feel like that could already help me with growing and learning how to make rockets.
I want to get into the satellite development thing, whether that be an aerospace engineer or something similar like an analyst.
My hope is that Colorado Skies Academy is helping to build the next generation of leaders and members of the aviation industry.
My name is Ricky Jack. I am 12 years old and I am a 7th grader at Colorado Skies Academy.
My name is Liam Proviance. I am 13 right now. Gonna turn 14 this year. I'm in 7th grade.
So I'm Cami Orbanks. I'm 12 and I'm in the 6th grade at Colorado Skies Academy.
There's so many of us that are absolutely passionate about aviation. So, helping to bring the next generation along is not just an obligation, but it's part of really realizing that passion.
Greg, is that a little bit like a family photo album of sorts?
Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah, what they're doing down there, and Mark and the team, and I mean they're really doing it. They're moving the needle, and it's great because when you start kids young, it's like what they're trying to do, and you put them on the path early. That's really where the magic happens. So typically we'll have schools that will ask and they'll say, okay, well, I'm going to have a program here for juniors and seniors. And I'm going, well, okay, well, that's great. But we need to start thinking down here in the elementary level. We need to start thinking here at the middle school area. For instance, I start these kids here in the 4th grade on these sims like you see here behind me. And by the time that they're in the 6th grade, they're shooting instrument approaches into Maui. They will do more than what you think they'll do. And then the challenge for programs like this is to stay ahead of that ball. And then, but that's awesome. That's a great position to be in, because if we can move things here at this level in the K-12, well, then what can you do in post-secondary with that? And what can you do at Lockheed Martin? What can you do at Boeing with somebody like this that we produce? So these kids, one of the things that we teach here in aviation, obviously, is the most important thing in aviation is never turn down an opportunity to pee. No, seriously, that's not the first one.
Actually, but that's an important one. Though.
It's not bad. But it's like the most important thing in aviation is the next thing. What's next? What's next? Well, when you're working with kids a lot of times, especially for the first time, long-term planning for them is like lunch, And by going through these programs like this, working as a team as they fly these longer missions, and they are forced to expand themselves down the road here mentally, they can start to embrace some of the things that these young people here were talking about on this video, to saying, I'm now thinking about what I want to do out here in the future, versus, getting the standard, I don't know, one of those things. So it really is important.
So is there, without being too specific about it, with these, as you're starting, like you said, with these fourth graders starting from zero, is there typically a moment when it's something they see or do or try or achieve that you tend to see, like it's usually that moment that the eyes widen, the aha moment, oh, I've got them locked? Is there a part of the program you see, like it's typically when they get there that, they see it, they experience it, they buy in, and they're off and going?
Yeah, and it happens differently for every student is different. Everybody is there, but it's what is funny is that there always is that moment, and to be there when that light comes on.
Sure.
And it's like when the student finally realizes on a particular maneuver or a particular type of decision making that they have to do with that, and all of a sudden you see that head turn and you see those wide eyes and you go, I get it. Or you have a corollary that they figured out something from this mission over here that they've applied to this mission here, and then they're going, oh, we get it. So yeah, that happens all the time. And for old teachers like myself, that's part of the payoff, to be able to be there and to see that. So yes, there is.
So if someone wants to be, if there's a parent out there and they're watching the mighty Greg Rourke talk and inspire, and they want to get their family, they want to get their kids involved, what are some of the best ways? How would you recommend they take their first step besides waiting outside the booth here?
Yeah. I think explore those things locally. There may be something out there that you just may not be aware of. But then the other thing is that we kind of just over the years, we have a pretty good network of not just aviation side, but educational side things with all the schools and everything that we do now. Give us a call.
Yeah.
Send me an email, and I'll help kind of direct you with that. And if it's a program, we have a session tomorrow here at about the noon hour, I think, where we're talking to parents, administrators, teachers about how do you build an aeronautics program in your community with that. And so we'll be talking about that tomorrow.
Very cool.
So
I know you're going to be busy here. I've been seeing you busy. Is there anything you want to get out? I mean, you're no rookie here to Oshkosh. Is there anything you specifically want to get out and see, or you love seeing every year when you're here?
It's yeah, but the problem, Sean, as you know, is that when you're working out here, I mean, we're all of us here at Redbird, we're all aviation geeks, just, like everybody else who flocks into Mecca here to see all of this. And I still, if I get a chance to even just walk down here to the circle and you just do just a slow 360 and to see everything there, to see all of that hardware, to see everything that's represented by that hardware here, I still get goosebumps.
Yeah.
And so, I like seeing everything. I'm in the process of building an airplane here, so I do that. So I try to get down there to the build center if I can, try to get help with it.
I was doing a walkabout yesterday after we were done with the show, and to your point, I'm just walking and walking and walking. I mean, I don't want to make any recommendation to EAA, but 60 planes would be a lot more achievable for me to get around. This 10,000 is just an unachievable number. Give me a nice 50, 60. I can get that done.
Let's run that up the flagpole.
Yeah,
let's see
we'll get that
how
kicked
they do
around
that.
for you. I'll make some calls.
Well, I appreciate the support. We're going to throw it out to the fans to decide.
Yeah.
But, Greg Rourke, you are the man. It's so admirable what you do, and obviously, that video shows the work that you're doing, and that the STEM education at Redbird Flight is doing is literally changing lives, and you can't do better work than that, right?
We keep doing it.
Well, I want to give a big thanks not only to Redbird Flight, our sponsor and partner here for Oshkosh Live, but to Greg Rourke for taking a couple minutes before he gets into the classroom right here next to us and gets back to, as you said, would you say earlier, corrupting minds? How'd you put it?
Influencing minds, or in our case, warping impressionable minds.
Impressionable minds is the way you put it. That's very well done. Greg, thank you so much
Sean,
for being here. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming. Thanks,
good to see you.
Awesome. And that was an awesome segment, only to be followed by another awesome segment with our next guest. Ryan, who do we have with us here today to your right?
Jim Lee Aerospace. How you doing, Jim?
Yeah.
Good to meet
good,
you.
Ryan.
Welcome to Oshkosh Live.
Hey, good to be here. Good to see
Thanks
you guys.
so much for joining us.
Yeah, we're really glad to have you. So why don't you tell us what's new over at Lee Aerospace?
Well, I tell you what, it's been a busy few years, and last May we actually acquired Lamas out of Silmar, California, a great window manufacturing company, 41 years experience. They have their own stretch acrylic machine, so that really adds the raw material we use in most of the windows that are on airplanes. Now we have our own stretched acrylic. They also build the V-22, so it gets us into the military market. We just won an order for about 615 V-22 windshields. Very interesting. They build F-15 stuff, 18, T-38s, and all kinds of good military stuff. So we're kind of reaching into military stuff as well as our commercial and GA.
Nice. Well, why don't you talk a little bit about the heated windshields?
Okay, yeah. On the heated window, we built non-heated windows for several years. So the last 5 or 6 years we've been working on heated windows. We have glass-faced 28-volt heated windows for the 400 or the Beach Jet. We recently with Bombardier started building a glass-faced Challenger window, which is puts us into big bird markets, as well as a cockpit side window. If anybody wants to see them, we have them over at our booth. We also are going to be working on the the Global Express, the big brother of the Challenger. So the Global Express is coming along shortly, along with its cockpit side window as well.
That's great. So I have something on here about the Cool View. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that and what's going on there?
Cool View is an awesome. It knocks out 78% of the IR coming through. And if you guys fly around, you're always hot in the cockpit, and I'd like to welcome Epic as our latest Cool View user. They're going to be starting to put it on their production birds. Textron with their King Air started in 24 on their King Airs as standard. Of course, Piper way back put them on their Cool View, and then Cirrus on their Vision Jet was our initial Cool View customer. And the people that put it on their aircraft love it. So we're going to keep expanding the Cool View line, that's for sure.
Great.
So, Jim, tell us a little bit about the origin story of the business. Maybe a little bit about how you got started, and how did you come up with the name?
Yeah, well, Lee Aerospace, that happens to be my name, so that works. My aviation company that was in the business of selling widgets, this and that, and I just kind of drifted off into the window world, building a little cabin window for the 737. That was in first delivery was March of '88. Then we just kind of kept building more complex windows through the years, and here 37 years later, happy to be here, and we're going to keep growing.
Yeah.
There's no stop at Lee Aerospace. I got a great team. We do a lot of repairs and installation, which is very important to the company. So a lot of these STCs on the bigger birds with the heated windows and everything else, we have people all over the United States. We go all over the world. We remove the windows. We install them. If they just need repaired, we'll polish them on wing. So we got a great group of repair technicians out there.
Awesome. I also read that Lee Aerospace had been part of the restoration of the historic A-26 bomber High Maintenance. Tell us a little bit about that. That's pretty incredible.
That's great.
Well, that project, along with the B-29 dock, anybody that has an old aircraft that we can help, we try to lend a hand where we can and use our expertise. It's kind of a tricky thing to build a window, but that's what we do for a living.
Yeah. So I would imagine for the number of years you've been in business, Oshkosh has been a big part of your story. So tell us a little bit about what do you remember about when you first came here and what you've seen change, and here you are now, and it seems like it's getting they're expecting record numbers to beat the record numbers from 2024. So tell us your perspective on that.
Well, oddly enough, there's not a lot of people, coming here looking for a windshield. There are some, on your Bombardiers, your King Airs, and this and that. But to be able to see the OEMs here, I really appreciate Textron, Piper, Pilatus, atmosphere where you can get the leaders from those companies and talk to them and, let them know what's going on. So I like that, as well as I'm an aviation enthusiast. Piper through an XL jet. I got stuff scattered all the way in between, and so I just love running around here seeing airplanes, that's for sure. Me and my whole crew, I got a great group of people. We all love aircraft, and so anyway, the folks at Lee Aerospace are really passionate about building these windows.
That's great.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk a little bit about some of the future products coming out of Lee Aerospace?
Okay. Yeah, some of the future items. Here again, the V-22. We are going to split that between Llamas and Lee Aerospace. So we're setting up a new production line for that. We have a new 90,000 square foot facility on paper that we're getting ready to kick off here shortly once we win a few more programs that are in queue.
Great.
And so expansion is definitely on the horizon for commercial, large body aircraft, and military.
What are sort of, I have something here I read about, what are Lee Aerospace aircraft window services? Is that something?
Yeah, the window service. I'm glad you asked about that. So Greg Pilon, Gary Neiman, actually Gary operates. We have 3 folks at as an example, over at Duncan Aircraft. Mm-hmm. And we're there to inspect the aircraft, provide the installation and removal services. We also work with Textron. We remove the windshields and we install them at their service centers. So that's a good segment of our company to provide a service to the folks that need help with their windshields.
Yeah. I noticed that there are some fans taking pictures of you from behind the camera. Hey, like, who is that?
That is Lonnie Lee, which is my brother's daughter. Yay, and she just came on board. Very enthusiastic, very well educated. She's going to help us in all the marketing and everything like that.
Well, she's doing great. Already doing content capture, getting you some Instagram, probably some Facebook content right there. I mean, that's a pro.
My dad, which is her grandpa, would be proud. We lost him about 10 or 11 years ago, but she has all the energy he has, so I really enjoy that.
So why don't you talk about, 24 hours AOG aircraft on the ground,
Well, thanks for asking. Yeah, we do have a 24 AOG hotline. If you need something done, we'll answer. We'll get the product if we can, and off we go. And you never know where you're going to go.
If I call you at 2 a.m.,
somebody will answer. If it's not me, somebody. We have a little rotation. Who's ever there will answer the AOG line. Right, Lonnie? You got that AOG stuff handled? Yeah.
She said yes.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah. That's right.
We're going to give out her cell phone number here in a couple minutes, and we'll put it up on the screen.
Yeah.
And Lonnie's going to take care of you.
Very good. Yeah. But anyway, so that's what we do pretty much, guys.
That's great.
Well, so appreciate you having me on board here.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Jim Lee with Lee Aerospace. If anybody here is all right. So anybody who wants to find you here, if they happen to be watching live and they want to come check you out, where can they find you here?
Well, I don't know what the booth number is, but it's right behind Textron and right behind Cirrus. So Lee Aerospace is there. Please, LeeAerospace.com. You can look us up, buy anything you need. Get in touch with us. Thank you.
Many thanks to Jim Lee, Lee Aerospace, LeeAerospace.com. Check it out for all your needs and make sure you get Lonnie's number. She's going to contact you for your 24/7, 365 customer support.
2 a.m.
That's it. You got it.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it very much.
Appreciate it. All right. Oshkosh Live continues. Oshkosh Live powered by Redbird Flight. Our intrepid producer, Kaylee, are we going to keep rolling into the next segment? Wonderful.
All right.
Let's talk about
Editor's Choice,
the Flying Awards, which we both were.
We were both there last night. We were both. It was good. It was nice. No mosquitoes last night. That was good. When you get out there by the lake a little bit, you get bitten. I'm actually a mosquito magnet. I think it's a Maryland thing.
Yeah, it's funny. I am too. I wonder if that has something to do with some runoff from the Chesapeake Bay.
Yeah. It's that radioactive material they say is in the Potomac. Anyways,
we were at a beautiful spot called the Waters on Lake Winnebago, which is named after the RV. It actually came that order. It wasn't the other way around. Just so you know.
Yeah.
But it was a really wonderful night. As an editor and an expert in this space, kind of tell me maybe your high view on some of what you saw.
Yeah, we had a really good group of people joining us at the Flying Party yesterday. It's always a great event, beautiful venue as always. Catering is top notch. I was there starting at noon, setting it up. It was pretty hot, but we made it work, and we're really excited to welcome everybody.
Yeah, I understand we have some footage from the event. Let's go ahead and maybe take a look at some of that. All right, so we're looking at here. We got obviously the Editor's Choice. So we'll riff on what we're seeing here live, Ryan, here on Oshkosh Live. What are we looking at here? Let's see. Okay, White Lightning. The Smart GPU ground power unit. One of our winners of the Editor's Choice Award. Is that what it means? I mean, are you guys literally just getting together in a room and throwing things at each other and coming to a consensus?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
It's virtually, but yes.
Yeah. And Garmin was a big winner.
Of course.
Multiple times last night.
Oh, yeah. Garmin, their Smart Assist run, that's a runway assist. It's a huge, addition and something really great. It
was, beautiful presentation last night. Continental. Again, I sat at their table last night.
You did. Yeah, another great winner, and really excited to have them joining us here.
got to see all this nice footage at the event last
like
night.
We've seen this before, right?
Feels like it.
I know, deja vu.
And of course,
the
Piper,
Fury, the M700 Fury, another great addition to our lineup this year. Really cool aircraft. Really excited to have them winning the award this year.
I would imagine there's all kinds of coverage on this on Flying Mag and some of the other sites that you're working on, right?
Yeah, we got a whole lot of it. You know, we like to tell the story.
And we had about 300 plus people last night.
I would say so. Yeah. We didn't really keep count. You know, we like to welcome everybody, but it was probably in the 300 range.
There were some industry celebrities. There were some pop culture celebrities. There were photos being taken. There was great food. There was great revelry.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the Sean D. Tucker Award.
Okay.
Which is something we're about to show. But, for those of you that don't know, I'm sure most people in the aviation community do know, but, Sean D. Tucker is a world champion aerobatic pilot, co-chairman of EAA's Young Eagles program. But this year, we selected somebody, really special. And it's a familiar name to a lot of people, especially if you're from Texas like I am. It was Ross Perot Jr. as our Sean D. Tucker Award winner. And actually, Sean D. Tucker, of course, picks this. So, of course, Ross Perot Jr. Flew around the world in a helicopter, and he's founder of the Alliance Airport in Fort Worth, Texas, which, if you all don't know, Alliance is a big cargo hub now, Amazon and a whole lot of others. A lot of maintenance and MRO operations there. Very large facility. It was great.
Well, congratulations to him. Let's go ahead and throw it to the Sean D. Tucker Award winner, Ross Perot Jr.
If you're a pilot, you're kind of born with that gene, and I was blessed enough to have that gene. Aviation is a life or death business. This isn't a hobby. You have to have the highest level of professionalism, the highest level of training, and the highest level of teamwork. Every flight should be better. Every flight should be safer. I've been doing this now 43 years, and we're still trying to get better. In 1982, an Australian took off to be the first man to fly a helicopter around the world. And we said, wait a minute, this is what Americans do. We need to go beat that guy. So within 30 days, the team came together, the helicopter came together, took off September 1, we're done September 30th, became the first man to fly a helicopter around the world. The best part about that trip, it's the team on the ground supporting us to let us get around the world in 29 days. Determination, big dreams, and a wonderful team can take you a long way in this world. The Alliance Airport program was a lot like the Around the World trip. The idea came from the FAA. They said, would you donate land for an airport? We had an amazing team, and so from when the idea first started to the airport opening was only 3 years. Well, that is determination, teamwork, but it's also public-private partnership. We have almost 600 firms out here today at Alliance. 66,000 people go to work every day at this airport. $130 billion impact is what we've done so far, and we're only half done. We started the Up Summit with the Walton family because we wanted to see the great entrepreneurs that have the future of aviation in their mind, but we want to embrace it early, fund them early, encourage them early, and it is very exciting for the future of aviation and really what it's going to do for our economy and what it's going to do for our country. I'm very optimistic.
And we are back. I hope you enjoyed that video highlighting the achievements of Ross Perot Jr. Obviously, I grew up with Ross Perot Sr.
Yeah, well, I didn't, but I'll tell you, I'm a kind of a little bit of a junkie in that regard. And we were talking about this last night, is that, there's a big story with Ross Perot Sr. As an independent candidate, I think in the 90s?
Yeah, I think it was the year that, it was 92, I believe.
Yeah, well, and it was a pretty big, historical moment in U.S. political history. So, but we're not here to talk about politics. We're here to talk about airplanes.
Yes.
I know.
What's a drone partnership with Walmart is on our talking points here. What do you know about that?
Well, I'm not a super big drone guy, but, I know that it's increasingly becoming more of a for retailers, you're starting to use drones more. Obviously, the famous one is Amazon, but Walmart's starting to use it in North Texas quite a bit.
Okay.
So you can get your whatever you need from Walmart. Last night over at the campsite, I forgot a pillow.
Yeah.
And that would have come real in handy just to have the thing drop it at the campsite.
I mean, well, forgetting a pillow and having it dropped by a drone is one thing, but what if you had forgotten a hammer?
Well,
you can't really just ask drones to be flying around dropping
hammers.
Tools and hardware around a campsite.
Well, you could, but I think they gently lower it.
Yeah.
They gently lower it. So I don't think we're going to have hammers dropped on our heads.
Yeah, I'm older and more risk-averse, perhaps, than you young kids who want to run around and take high risks. But also, we're going to be talking in a minute. We're going to be showing a video that you were a part of producing about Central Cylinder. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really interesting to kind of see. I think this will be really exciting for the audience to kind of watch, what Central Cylinder is and what they do. I don't want to spoil too much.
You want to spoil too much. Well, with that being said, let's go ahead and tee up this Ryan Ewing produced video about Central Cylinder. Take a look now.
David, thanks for joining us, Oshkosh Live. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Central Cylinder and the work you guys do?
Well, we're a certified repair station out of Omaha, Nebraska. Family business. My dad actually got the repair station started in 1973, and we've been in the same location here just off of Epley Airport since 1983. So we've been around a minute. And, we started off with cylinders, obviously, since the name, but then we kept adding capabilities. And, we're a full-service machine shop as well as a accessory shop and engine overhaul shop. And we've got 3 generations of Zarnickies down here now, so we're pretty proud of that.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations. That's really cool. What makes Central Cylinder different than other overhaul shops?
Well, I think what sets us just a little bit apart, there's a lot of good shops out there. This is a small community, general aviation, most all the shops, especially in this Midwest, Great Plains region, we know each other. We help each other out. We do business back and forth. But what makes us a little unique, I guess, is our capabilities list. There's several crankcase shops in the country, and there's lots of engine shops, but we are certified to weld and repair and overhaul crankcases, weld, repair cylinders. We can regrind cams, tappets, all the NDT work. We do mags, we do carburetors, we do fuel pumps. We don't farm anything out unless we need a crankshaft nitrided. So in other words, if you're an FBO and you're doing your own overhaul, I can do all your machine work, do your accessories, get you set up so you can do your field overhaul. And when it comes to this day and age with all the backlogs on getting parts and machine work, you bring me your engine. I don't have to wait 6 to 8 months to get a crankcase back or to get a cam ground. We do it in live real time. We tear down your engine. We rebuild your crankcase. If the cam needs to be reground or if we replace it, we can do it all in-house. So we're not waiting on other people. We're not waiting on shipping. And we also have all the quality control here. And on a consumer end, the customer, when they call here, the buck stops here because I can't blame so-and-so. Did the crankcase call him? Or, well, we didn't do the mag call. The buck stops here. So when we do the engine, we have a lot of control over it. We also have a lot better opportunity to service our customers if there is a problem after the job's done. So I think that's what makes us a little more unique than, some of the other overhaul shops.
Got it. What do you consider your biggest asset in business today?
My biggest asset in business today is absolutely my employees. I've got a good crew. We've got a gentleman here that's been with our family working full time since 1986 at our facility. My brother, Dan, we're co-partners in this. We're owners, and he's been here full time since 1984. My dad still comes in and checks on the guys and mentors the young guys. He's 81 years old and still loves the business. All of my people have been here quite some time, and they're all mechanical people. Their hobbies are airboats or race cars, or, we're all gearheads down here. And I think that just really, I don't have a high employee turnaround. So it's a family atmosphere. When something comes in the back door, by the time it leaves the front door, the same group of guys that are here all the time have handled that from cradle to the grave. And I think that's my biggest asset, along with our capabilities, being able to do whatever we need done in-house in real time. Like I said, that's really a big asset for, especially the past few years where a lot of cylinders, we haven't been able to get new cylinders. We like to do new cylinders on an overhaul, obviously. But if you can't get them, we can rebuild your cylinders here in real time and get that engine turned around quick. So that's a big asset.
Yeah. So what do you, how does the future of piston powered general aviation look to you?
Well, as an airport kid that grew up in this, and hanging around all the FBOs growing up and doing inspections with my dad and being a pilot for years myself. It's always been the doom and gloom in this industry. You've always heard piston engines are dead. The fuel's going to be gone. They're going to regulate us out of it. And I don't see that at all. GA's going. The flight schools can't keep up. They can't keep enough airplanes and enough engines in the sky. The private owners, especially the guys with RVs and all this new fun stuff, and the Cirrus owners, they're keeping it alive. The old airplanes are getting restored. I think it just keeps going. 20 years ago, I was kind of staring at that going, well, how's this going to be? And now I'm excited to have, the third generation of my family involved. And I've got some young, talented mechanics here that are involved. I think it's strong. I think it's got a bright future. I really do. I'm excited about it.
Cool. Well, that's great. What else do you want to kind of talk about Central Cylinder and work you all do, and how can people find you?
Well, we it's a rarity for us to advertise. We just don't do a lot of it. But what's happened in the past 10 years, 5 years or so, we've gotten so overwhelmed with outside work. In other words, pallets of crankcases coming, piles of connecting rods. So we've kind of retuned the business a little bit over the past few years to where we're still doing that work, but we're kind of controlling the gate, we're doing that by appointment, and concentrating more on our overhauls, prop strikes, IRANs, complete engines to speed up our turn time. And that's been pretty exciting for us, and we're really getting to where we can get an engine in and out quick, despite some of the hurdles. And that's been a good thing. And, we've been fine tuning our equipment over the years. When you've been in business this long, you've got 3 of everything already, but we just had a nice, state of the art, magnetic particle machine built for us, custom ordered a few years ago, that should carry us for a long time, and things like that. We're always upgrading our equipment. It's just, pretty good stuff going on down here. Like I said, I enjoy the family aspect of our business. That's, all of our employees, we're a pretty tight group, and we're a small shop though. That's what is a little bit of a thing. There's only 9 of us. That's not a lot for the amount of work we do. But you can find us on the web, centralcylinder.com. And, that's about the only way to find us, or just give us a call. And we can handle about anything from a small repair to, complete engines and, all the accessories. We're the only company left in the world doing Simmons fuel injection, which for the old Queen Airs and Aero Commanders, not a lot of those out there, but we're still doing them. We have the rights to that, and a few unique things like that. Yeah.
It's great. Well, David, thanks for talking with us, and we were glad to have you here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You guys have a good one.
We are back with Oshkosh Live, powered by Redbird Flight. It's Sean Bean, Ryan Ewing, getting ready to close out hour one. It's been great sharing it with you, buddy. How's your morning been so far?
It's good. We're about ready for another cup of coffee, though. You know, in the campground, I only have instant coffee, so that doesn't quite do the job anymore.
Yeah, well, we'll run out and get one together here.
Yeah.
You maybe not be able to see outside the booth, but it is a sunny day. Things are warming up, a little bit of cloud cover, but really going to be warm these next couple days. And actually, all the things we've learned at Redbird Flight, I have one of the most funnest facts I've maybe have learned this whole trip, and our intrepid producer, Kaylee Nix, and I heard this morning from one of the Redbird staff. Do you know what corn sweat is?
No.
So apparently,
I'm scared.
When you get to this time of year and the corn ripens, it puts off like a moisture, and because there's such volume of it, it gets into the air and creates heat, and therefore increases the temperature. But it's a phenomenon here in the Midwest known as corn sweat that impacts the weather and the temperature. How about that?
Wow, you just changed my mind. You know, my family's from Iowa, too, and I should know that, so now I can go impress them.
Yeah. Anyway, so always filled with good information and camaraderie here at Oshkosh Live. We've got a really, we're closing out hour one, Ryan and I, but there's a lot of really great content to come. After this segment, we're going to be throwing it to Larry Anglisano at Aviation Consumer. Out in the field doing some interviews. Then we're later going to have Ryan back as the Aviation Geeks Hour. He's going to be hosting some great guests. Kayla McLeod with Plane and Pilot is back on the desk. Russ Niles later today. Full day of exciting stuff happening here. Ryan, I don't know. I'm pretty hyped. I know we're not caffeinated enough, but the Oshkosh Live high is really hitting me here.
It's starting to get me too, man. It's been a great morning, and excited for the rest of the day and the rest of the week.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to get ready to close out the first hour. I'm rocking my Redbird merch. As everybody knows, an editor will take anything that's not nailed down. Thank you, Redbird Flight, for the hat. So that's all for Ryan and Sean here at Oshkosh Live, powered by Redbird Flight. Hour one, stay with us. More great show to come.
Life's better when you're prepared, especially on the flight deck. Find a Redbird near you and fly like you've been there before.
let's go. Get the bag. Get the bag. Get. What?
Life's better when you're prepared, especially on the flight deck. Find a Redbird near you and fly like you've been there before.
Next.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Trashed.
Life's better when you're prepared, especially on the flight deck. Find a Redbird near you and fly like you've been there before.
Okay. Yeah, let's say we'll start up here and talk about the prop and the engine. And
you can go ahead. Go ahead.
Welcome to another edition of Aviation Consumer Live, part of this Oshkosh live series from Fire Crown. We're here at the Pilatus exhibit with Andrew Westfall. This airplane, PC-12 Pro, has got a earned reputation, is doing a lot of things well. And I think this PC-12 Pro is probably the best yet. What do you think?
Hey, thanks, Larry. I'm happy to be here, and I'm really happy to host you guys. My name's Andrew Westfall from Pilatus Aircraft. We're really happy to bring this PC-12 Pro to Oshkosh this year. We're really excited for everybody to come see it. We've got it open for everybody to come in as well. So if you haven't seen it, come on by.
Let's start at the business end of the airplane.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Talk about what powers this PC-12 Pro.
Yeah, so this is the inside the PC-12 Pro. We've got the Pratt & Whitney PT6-67XP. Now that's we have this engine on the PC-12 NGX and the PC-12 Pro. It's full FADEC electronic engine and propeller control. The propeller runs at 1700 RPM for takeoff, cruise, and landing. It can also be put into prop low speed mode, which is 1550 RPM. And that reduces the vibration and the noise in the cabin and just makes it a overall more comfortable airplane with no performance loss.
Let's work our way around.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll kind of work our way around here. So some of the changes we've made to the PC-12 Pro are, of course, the cockpit. We're really excited to show that to you, and outside the aircraft, we've actually made it quite a bit lighter. We've replaced some of the skin of the airplane. We've replaced some of the lighting of the airplane, so it still looks like a starship when it's coming into land. Still looks really bright, lights up the sky, lights up the runway. It's a really key point of the PC-12. We've kept its really resilient, really versatile trailing link landing gear with big low pressure tires to absorb whatever might be you might be landing on, whether it's a grass, dirt, ice, snow runway or just a pavement runway. That's perfectly acceptable as well. Why don't we go inside the aircraft, Larry?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, come on in. Larry, why don't you go first, and I'll follow you up. Why don't we go into the cockpit? All right, Larry, if you don't mind, I'll come in here with you.
Now, anybody that's familiar with the PC-12 over the years, the aircraft started out with a Honeywell suite of avionics. And the big news around the PC-12 Pro is this Garmin suite.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So welcome to the PC-12 Pro flight deck. In here we've got the brand new Garmin G3000 Prime. This is not only a brand new system for Pilatus, it's a brand new system for Garmin. We have updated hardware on these touchscreen displays. The SDUs and the MFDs and PFDs are all touchscreen. Everything you see inside of a gray box with a round edge is touch configurable. We're really excited to have this avionics system, and we're really excited to see what it can do for the aircraft. It's a really capable system, and it's just a pleasure to work with Garmin.
This is a single pilot operated airplane most of the time. Some of them are crewed, but how does this G3000 Prime reduce workload?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we've actually added a lot of safety features. We're using all of the Garmin safety features. This airplane is equipped with Autoland. This airplane is equipped with so many smart features, runway awareness, and all of these features, really come back and make it a safer and more reliable airplane for a single pilot operation, even a dual pilot operation. We're just really excited to bring these safety features to the market.
Yeah, and that G3000 Prime also includes a new autopilot for the airplane.
Yeah, it does, and we have the autopilot configured for Pilatus. So this is the autopilot controller up here, if you can see it. We've got with that FADEC engine, with that PT6 XP, we've got auto throttle, full auto throttle. It just decreases the pilot workload, and makes this airplane an excellent single pilot airplane, dual pilot airplane, a lot safer, just overall a lot easier to fly.
The auto throttle obviously is an important part of Garmin's Autoland system, but the auto throttle in this airplane is deeply embedded with the nav management system, and that really reduces workload, doesn't it?
It does.
Because you don't have to touch much after takeoff, and then when you get ready to land, right?
Exactly. The system, the auto throttle system, works really well with the engine. It takes it back from the takeoff detent back to the max continuous power detent, so that's just a little bit less workload for the pilot right there, and it manages that all the way through the flight, all the way into the descent, and even the approach. Something else I wanted to talk about, Larry, is the Garmin weather radar. So the weather radar on this airplane is we're really excited. It's a little bit bigger antenna. It's about 12 inches. So the someone who really knows the PC-12 might notice it, that the radome on this airplane on the right side is just a little bit bigger, but there's no performance effect on the airplane.
GWX 8000.
Exactly. So that's another upgrade we made, and we're really excited about that. Very proud
what I
of it.
see down here in the throttle area is a cursor control device. We still kept that in this airplane, even though it's a G3000?
Yeah, exactly. This is the first the Garmin cockpit is using a cursor control device. This is a Pilatus essential. This goes back all the way to our legacy aircraft, and we brought this into the PC-12 Pro. This gives you some really good capability. It's a really comfortable seating position, and I can be here and manipulate the entire avionics system. Just with my right hand down here, even though I have the ability to manipulate the screens independently, I can just come down here. I can move this cursor ball around and enter data and change the system how I want it to be. So that's another thing that helps this airplane be a safe, single pilot, reliable airplane.
And for backup, Garmin GI 275 to the left of the main PFD.
Yeah, I'll get these RAM mounts out of the way for an iPad, but exactly, these are the standby instruments. It's a this instrument could probably run the whole cockpit, but we've got it over here as a standby instrument because you've obviously got everything else you'd need.
Let's go to the rear cabin.
Yeah.
Got to keep the passengers happy.
Got to keep the passengers happy. I'll follow you, Larry.
So back cabin of the PC-12 Pro, anything different in this airplane from the previous generation?
Yeah, so we've actually updated all of our color palettes, all of our materials are updated in this airplane, so you're really getting the top of the line here. We've updated the PSU to include the auction masks in the PSU, and with all the enhancements and with some of the cabin changes, the cabin is actually a lot quieter. It's a lot more comfortable in this airplane. And so Larry, these seats are, these two seats right here, these are 3 and 4, and they can turn around 180 degrees. They can also lie flat. There's also a footrest down here, so they can lie completely flat. You can put this out. Even for some of those longer trips, makes it really comfortable. You can lie down, get some rest, get some, relax a little bit. It's just a really comfortable airplane.
So let's talk about mission capabilities of this airplane. How do you find that most folks operate the airplane? I know it's a fairly broad demographic. It's going to fly a PC-12, but how are people flying these airplanes? Are they loading all the seats? Are they taking some of the seats out, loading cargo? We'll get a look at that big cargo door in a minute here, but what's the typical mission profile for this airplane? And let's talk about range and speed.
Well, that's a that's a big question, Larry. It's since it's such a versatile airplane, we have so many different missions that that pinpointing it on one is a little bit tricky. I would say that the most common mission is A to B, whether it's a large family, corporation, or maybe a humanitarian operation. We have firefighters that fly this airplane. We have a wide variety of customers that fly this airplane. So currently, we're sitting in the 6-seat cabin. This is the most popular cabin configuration. So we've got 6 executive seats in the cabin. Our next most popular is the 6+2. So there'd be still these same 6 seats, and then 2 more seats behind those back executive seats. So we'd pull those forward. You can fit in two standard seats. Maybe you're going on a trip where you need to take some extended family or a couple extra members from the company. You can throw those in, take them out really quickly, really easily. It's very versatile. They're light seats, but they're still pretty comfortable. Now, beyond that, we have a standard configuration as well, where we can fit 9 standard seats in the cabin. It's a little bit tighter, but you can really achieve some capacity in this airplane and move a lot of people around.
Now we walk past it, but there is a potty up front.
Yeah, exactly. There is a lavatory up front. We redesigned the lavatory this year, so it's a little more convenient. It's a little bit nicer. We can open that up on the way out. Do you want to talk about? We can talk about speed first.
Yeah, let's talk about performance.
Yeah, sure.
So typical mission. What do we got for speed and payload capability?
Yeah. So with this airplane, with new avionics system and lithium batteries, 2 lithium batteries, we were actually able to take out about a little more than 100 pounds out of the airplane. So that's going to help with your payload capacity. So now with full fuel, with 400 gallons of fuel, 2,700 pounds, we're able to take 1,000 pounds of payload in the cabin. So that's going to open it up a little bit, and then we're looking at about, depending on the winds, of course, we're looking at about 1,500 to 1,800 nautical miles.
And how about field performance? Short field, pretty good short field airplane?
Oh, field performance, absolutely. So with this really modern wing and 40 degrees of flaps, we can achieve a landing distance of a little less than 1,800 feet, fully loaded at the max landing weight. Now for takeoff, we can also achieve really, really short distances, less than 3,000 feet, about a little over 2,000 feet. I believe it's 2480 is the exact number at max takeoff weight. And we have a lot of operators that operate off really narrow runways, dirt runways up in Canada or Alaska, and they're able to operate off short runways, carry a lot of weight, a lot of gear in the cabin, and still have those legs to go those long distances.
Yeah, legs to go long distances. Let's get a look at that lavatory if we could.
Yeah,
Can we open that door? And you said you made some improvements there to it?
We did. We sure did. We made some improvements. We made it a little bit easier to access. I'm going to pull this out of the way. For the show, we have some plastic down here so everyone can take a look inside the airplane. I'll just pull this back. All right, so you can get a look in there. We added a light up top. It's still pretty spacious. We opened it up a little bit and added some storage compartments for toiletries, whatever you might need. And of course, just in case, a toilet paper holder on the door. Now we have a hard door that closes off the cockpit. There's strong magnets that hold that door closed to the bulkhead on the cockpit, and then I'll kind of close myself out here. But we also have a door that closes off the cabin, so you've got full privacy from both the cockpit and the cabin, and some room to do what you need to do. why don't we step outside the airplane and we can look at some of the features on the outside. Watch those cords, Larry. Okay. Okay, so we're back outside the airplane, and as you can see, one of the biggest things about this is the color. So for the new PC-12 Pro, we decided to go outside Pilatus' box a little bit. Now we have some nice orange theme colors. I really like it, Larry. It's a little different, but it's kind of exciting.
Yeah, I guess I'd take one. Now, worth mentioning is, I once loaded a motorcycle in one of these airplanes.
Really?
Yes, I did. And let's walk to the back of the airplane, and we
Wow,
can get a look
cool,
at that cabin
cool.
door and
Absolutely.
show you how we did it.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Thank you. Andy, are you showing the airplane right now? No.
Now, this big cabin door has been sort of the claim to fame to the PC-12 since the beginning, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Larry. So this cabin door is big enough to fit a standard size pallet, and you can actually drive. So the design philosophy is to drive a forklift up and load a standard size pallet into the cabin. Obviously, you'd want to remove these seats in the back here, but that gives you plenty of space. Now, to remove these seats, it's actually really easy. You take this shroud off the seat. There are 2 pins on the bottom. You rotate them 90 degrees, and the seat pops out. It's really secure. It's also really easy to remove. And the seats are not too heavy. You can take it out within an hour. Now, if you do have a forklift driver, you'd want to get a really good one because you don't want them to run into flap on the back. But it's we do it all the time. We can load a pallet in just like this.
Good shot here at the landing gear.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's our trailing link landing gear. That's a 13-inch strut, so it's got 13 inches of travel.
Let's get a close-up of that gear.
So it's got about 13 inches of travel with some really strong hydraulic brakes, and this will stop you in no time. This landing gear, low pressure tire with big multi-piston hydraulic brakes combined with reverse thrust really gives you a lot of capability to stop the airplane really quickly and fly in and out of short strips with high amounts of payload.
Yeah, talk about the flaps a little bit too.
Yeah, so this is a trailing Fowler flap. So we have 3 flap settings: flaps 15, flaps 30, and flaps 40. A normal takeoff is performed at flaps 15 or flaps 30. But with the flaps extended for landing configuration of flaps 40, we can get a stall speed in the low 60s. For a 10,000 pound airplane, that's pretty impressive.
Shaker and pusher.
Exactly, shaker and pusher. So when you slow down the airplane, the pilot will first feel a shaking motion in the yoke, letting him know we're approaching the low end of the envelope. And then if the pilot doesn't correct it at that point, there is a pusher that'll lower the nose, that'll pull the yoke down and lower the nose to prevent a stall.
Let's go look at the tail.
Yes.
T-tail configuration?
Yeah, T-tail configuration. So this is a T-tail configuration. The stab on top, the horizontal stabilizer, has an elevator on the back, but it has a trim jack screw in the front. So actually the whole stabilizer is trimmed. And then the rudder and all the control components are aluminum. Really high grade, really strong aluminum, and you've got a big rudder back here to manage all that horsepower, about 1,200 continuous shaft horsepower.
And with the Garmin autopilot automatic yaw damper engage on takeoff?
Exactly. It will engage on takeoff. It's on the pilot checklist. So the pilot puts the gear up and turns the yaw damper on, and that will completely provide protection against adverse yaw, and the pilot does not need to touch use the rudder pedals after that.
Yeah.
You should always keep your feet on the rudder pedals.
Sure. Now, you mentioned it, this airplane with the new Garmin G3000 Prime Suite does have auto land.
It does.
We missed it in the cabin, but is there a button someplace?
we did. So this is our first PC-12 Pro in the United States. Autoland will be certified here coming in 2026, and as soon as it's certified, we'll pull a cover off the airplane, and there's a big red Autoland button in there. So with that system, for whatever reason, whether it's piloting incapacitation or if there's an emergency, that button can be pushed. The airplane uses a certain algorithm to find a suitable airport nearby, considering weather and fuel, and will land the airplane and stop it on the runway.
Okay. Anything else you want folks to know about this good airplane?
It's a great airplane, and we're really excited to be here at Oshkosh. And if you haven't seen it, come on down and see it. We've also got our PC-24 over here. I would love to show you that next time. And Larry, I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming by.
Always good catching up with you. Appreciate everything you do for us. Camera guys are saying to sign off, and I guess we're going to talk about a Cirrus video we did yesterday. I caught up with Cirrus's Ivy MacGyver. We talked about the new Cirrus G7 Plus airplanes, and let's send it back over to the studio. Here at AirVenture 2025 in Oshkosh, once again.
Here we go!
With Ivy MacGyver. And I just saw you a couple of months ago. You and I joined up in White Plains, New York.
Yeah, we sure did.
And we flew that brand new SR-22 G7 Plus with a good demo of Safe Return Auto Land. A couple months later, airplanes are starting to get delivered.
Yep.
How's the reception?
The reception has been universally positive. It's been really, really great. Not only have we gotten a lot of very positive feedback about the fact that we've introduced this for the piston airplane. It's a great solution for an incapacitated pilot, but a lot of people have given us the feedback that, hey, I'm getting older and this is going to keep me in aviation, or flight school saying, like, this is a great feature to have for our student pilots in case they, have a panic moment or something like that. So just universally all around, people are excited about it. People are excited to see kind of what an activation might be like, how that might help save lives. And we haven't had an activation yet.
That we know about, because you could cancel it.
I suppose you can cancel it, but we haven't had an activation yet.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
You have access to that data? I mean, this airplane has got lots of data recorded.
We do.
So how would we know there's been an activation?
Actually, when the system is activated, it automatically notifies Garmin.
Notifies Garmin?
Yes. Okay. And thus, Garmin Air Safety notifies our Air Safety. So we have a close relationship with the...
So even if it's not a complete activation, if somebody activates it, but discontinues it with the disconnect button on the autopilot.
Yeah, it will have sent a message.
Still sends a message.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
So what I want to know, an air show like this, pilots from all walks of life, right?
Yes.
What's the demographic that's serious about buying a brand new G7 Plus?
Oh gosh,
what does that owner look like?
You know what? It's really, you can't pin it down because our owners are like, it's a wide spectrum of different owners. I was just talking to a gentleman who actually owned a G3, so a much older one that he bought used, and he got a partnership together and placed an order for a brand new G7 Plus about 3 weeks ago. And they're hobby flyers. They don't use it for business. They just use it for fun. A lot of people do use it for business. So we have a lot of small business owners, doctors with multiple practices, dentists with multiple practices, lawyers with multiple practices in different locations, car dealers with multiple locations. So people who have multiple locations in a region, that the airplane helps them get between locations in a much more efficient way than driving. That's a great use for it. People with second homes, people with kids in college, going to visit their family, keep their family closer together. But it's really a very wide demographic. I couldn't tell you here's what a typical Cirrus owner looks like, because they're all pretty varied.
Where I'm going with all this is, the Cirrus has always sort of been an airplane that kind of sold itself, right? It's kind of easy to show. It's got lots of safety features. And the CAPS parachute, it's got a lot to do with that, I think.
Yeah.
But now that we've got safe return in these airplanes, does it make it even easier to sell?
I would say it makes the plane more approachable for people, right? So if you were thinking about getting into aviation and you weren't sure and you had a little bit of hesitation, this is just one more safety feature that says, you know what, yes, I'm going to do this, right? And so it's kind of like all of these different layers of safety, and it's certainly, the people who are in aviation, it's a straightforward sales process. People who are just outside aviation but have an affinity for it, that was a really, the parachute was a really big feature to kind of address those people. Yeah. Now we're sort of expanding that circle a little bit more, just with the additional safety of safe return, for people to sort of give themselves permission to explore aviation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about some major talking points for the G7 Plus? We've talked about it before. We've done some videos on this channel.
Sure.
Give me a bullet point, maybe 6 long.
So, safe return, obviously, star of the show. But we also have runway occupancy awareness, which is great. You hear a lot about runway incursion events. And of course, there's been some high profile events like that at commercial airports and things like this. This little airplane has a runway occupancy awareness. So basically, as you're approaching a runway, it will alert you if there's other traffic either on the runway or approaching the runway. So if you get to the runway and you hold short, and let's say you're at an uncontrolled field and you go to hold short of the runway and you're going to pull out, it will actually tell you, hey, there's a plane on approach to this runway. And you'll see it on the MFD before you'll actually see a visual of it coming. And it gives you the tail number and the specs of the plane and how fast it's going. So that's really, really great from a situational awareness perspective. We also have our Cirrus IQ Pro, which has introduced automatic database downloads, which is awesome, right? So your databases will automatically download, be sitting in the system, and so your databases will always be up to date. You don't have to mess with the SD card. It's a wicked time saver. Yeah, it's awesome.
What about paintwork? I've always said, the paintwork on these airplanes keep getting better and better.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've seen paintwork this good on any airplane.
I mean, so we have really pushed the boundaries with our interiors and exteriors. We're always exploring new materials, new paint colors, new paint finishes. So the plane that we're standing next to right now is a polar Arrive. So this color is polar. So we've got a 3-tone paint scheme on the exterior. So we've got, black, polar, and sterling silver. And then on the inside, you'll notice some really, really nice accent stitching, some really unique leathers. We've kind of gotten to introduce some matte paints, some more.
Kind of follow in the automotive world?
Yes, we have
inspired paintwork.
I would say automotive, marine. We have a design team that's actually focused on following different trends. Yeah. So they pay attention to not just automotive, marine, but they're looking at fashion trends and watch trends and things like that to see kind of where the world is going in terms of aesthetics. And they really try to incorporate new materials, new stitching patterns, new colors. So we're always kind of on that cutting edge.
Yeah. And one last thing, and I'll turn you loose. Training program. You guys have really, really done a great job with it. Worth mentioning, in a recent issue of Aviation Consumer, I think it's the July issue, we talked about Cirrus safety. Mm-hmm. It's never been better.
Yeah.
And you're pretty proud of the Embark program.
Absolutely,
It's pretty important.
Yeah. So we've really put a lot of time and resources into our Cirrus Approach ecosystem. So Cirrus training, we're very, very focused on continued training, currency, proficiency, flying with a certified Cirrus instructor pilot. And then the Cirrus Embark program is something that we feel very, very strongly. We introduced in 2017, and that ensures anyone who buys a Cirrus, whether it's used or new, bought through us, bought independently, receives Cirrus transition training for free. So Cirrus provides Cirrus transition training for anyone who buys a Cirrus. So if you're going to go buy a Cirrus, I encourage you to go on the Cirrus website, enroll in Cirrus Embark. You get access to the entire Cirrus Approach library for your airplane and 3 days worth of transition training with an authorized training provider, just to set you up for success, get you into that training ecosystem. Training is absolutely the most important safety feature on the airplane.
Yeah, I agree with you. Don't underestimate all the safety systems built into this airplane, but kind of put that away for a while and concentrate on flying.
Yeah, the pilot's the most important safety feature.
Yeah, and am I right, where it's important to stay ahead of the automation?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's important to stay current and ahead of the automation, but it's also important to not neglect your stick and rudder skills. So go out, fly around, do some stalls, do some maneuvers, go practice landing. You don't have to have an epic journey on your agenda to make it a productive flight. So go out, fly around for half an hour.
So you come to AirVenture, say, I want that airplane right there. How long it take to get one?
It's depending on what you're looking for. It could
turbo
be
SR22 G7 Plus.
New or in from the demo fleet.
Well, I want a brand new one.
About a year to 18 months.
Ivy, always great catching up with you.
Yeah, you too. Enjoy your adventure.
Thank you.
He wants to walk into shot. We're coming by. Hold on.
On your camera?
He's going to walk into shot. Go.
So to give you an idea of where we're at here at the show, this Pilatus exhibit, a couple of cool airplanes. If you're a real dreamer, lots going on. We got the Piper exhibit right next door. Whip Air, which does aircraft floats. There's some cool airplanes over there on floats, including that big Fireboss airplane. Cirrus is over at the corner. If you go straight down, that'll take you to Boeing Plaza, where there's a big 747 to look at. And if we pan around over here, we've got Textron, which has really got the biggest display I think we've seen in a long time. Beechcraft, Cessna, all the Textron airplanes. So there's a lot to see. It's a pretty nice morning here at AirVenture. High clouds, not too hot. Weather's been pretty good, and hope you come out and enjoy some of this nice weather and these cool airplanes. And thanks for watching Aviation Consumer Live and this Oshkosh Live series at Fire Crown. We'll be bringing you coverage all week long. Appreciate you watching, and camera guy says it's time to send it back over to the studio.
It's happening. Okay, it's happening. Let's go. It's happening. Let's go. Get the bag. Get the bag. Yeah. What?
Life's better when you're prepared, especially on the flight deck. Find a Redbird near you and fly like you've been there before.
Next. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Trashed.
Life's better when you're prepared, especially on the flight deck. Find a Redbird near you and fly like you've been there before.
Captain Jason Ambrosi, Airline Pilots Association President. How are you doing, sir?
Well, Ryan, thank you for having us.
Well, it's great to have you here to talk about everything that's happening in the aviation world today from your guys' perspective. You know, the first thing I want to talk to you about, because there's been a lot of news, and even Secretary Duffy's doing a press conference here later today, air traffic control. You guys have been very vocal about that. I know you were at his big unveiling a couple months ago. Talk to me about how you guys are feeling about the current administration's response to it.
Look, it's been a Band-Aid approach for years. They allocate a certain amount of money to fix the system, and every time that money ends up maintaining the old instead of doing what it was intended to start doing new. I mean, the Next Gen Advisory Committee, which I'm a member of, that's been around for 20-plus years trying to do Next Gen. Next Gen is past Gen now.
Right.
So it's time to do the right thing and allocate the resources. And, you know, it's unfortunate it takes a tragedy like the PSA tragedy in D.C. in January to move this along. But, you know, hopefully out of tragedy, we've now opened the doors to do the right thing for a change. Let's put the money into it. You know, I share the concern that Secretary Duffy does that right now it's front and center. We've gotten, you know, $12 billion-ish allocated now, but we're hopeful that a year from now, 2 years from now, that people don't say, yeah, it's not as exciting as it was, or it's not as important as it was in 2025. So it starts taking a back burner, right?
Yeah.
The amount of money they need in total Ryan, is like 2 weeks of interest payments on the debt. This is not. It's all a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
But it's not a lot of money when you consider everything else to do it right. The U.S. is the leader in aviation. We shouldn't be the laggard in our air traffic control system. We need to get our men and women in air traffic control the support they need to do this job the right way.
Yeah. So obviously you're ALPA's president now, but you're still a pilot, right?
Yes.
And how long have you been out on the line?
All right, so I've been at Delta Airlines over 25 years, and I flew for the regionals before that. I'm a current and qualified 767 captain right now. I don't get to fly very often because I'm now representing 80,000 pilots across 42 airlines in the United States and Canada. I'm proud to do this job on behalf of those folks every day, and it's a lot of advocacy, right? There's a lot of going on. ALPA is not just a pilots union. We are the number one largest non-governmental aviation safety organization in the world. Our safety department is larger than any other department. So we're out there advocating for a lot of the safety improvements you have on airliners today are a result of our advocacy over the years. You know, we say our rules are written in blood. Well, it's our pilots that are on the front line of that.
Yeah, great. So, there's been some, recent sort of headlines. Again, it's coming back in the news, age 67. It's coming back. Sure, you guys have seen what I've seen. What are y'all feeling?
Well, look, Jason doesn't set any policy. Jason just does the work of the pilots.
Right.
So our pilots, and more than a supermajority of our pilots, feel that their age should not change. Even more believe that it should not change without a study, some look at it, right? Because changing it today is an arbitrary change. No one has done any homework on it. No one's looked at it and said, yes, it's safe to go to 67, whatever, pick an age, right? So right now our position, the position of our pilots, the position of our elected leadership has been to remain the same as the international standard, right? There's a few outlying countries, Canada, New Zealand, nobody that operates the kind of environment we do, right? We do 40,000 flights a day, in this environment, and they wouldn't be able to touch international airspace. So even Caribbean, Mexico, in Canada, they have the problem of if they're flying to Toronto, they have to go way around. They're not allowed to go over United States airspace because that's an ICAO rule. So it creates a headache. All our international wide-body captains wouldn't be able to continue flying international wide-body captains. So what do? Do they sit home and get paid? Do they get to downgrid? What do they do? So at this point, status quo is what our members think, and it's not just arbitrary. It's because of all the things I talked about.
All right. So let's talk a bit, something ALPA's been very vocal about recently, single pilot operations, reduced pilot operations. Airbus, EASA has been pushing this. I know it's changed recently. Talk to you a little bit about that and what you all have seen.
Yeah, Ryan, I tell you, the push for single pilot crews has been a big one. Airbus had hoped to have a 350 that would be two pilot end to end, even when it should be augmented crews with 3 or 4 pilots, and that one pilot would be in the flight deck while the other pilot is out resting in the back. So it's, they don't like it when I say it's single pilot operations, but I'm pretty sure anybody here at Oshkosh would say that if there's only one person on the flight deck for 2 hours at a time, that is single pilot operations.
Right.
So, yes, you mentioned some successes. We've partnered with FALPA, the International Federation of Airline Pilots, as well as the European Cockpit Association to shed light on this. And it's had some successes. A new front-leaning director at EASA has said, hey, look, we need to focus on safety with the current crew complement before we even consider anything else. So we're keeping our foot on the gas because it's never going to go away. It's about economics. As much as they want to say taking pilots out of the flight deck is about safety, it's about economics. I can assure you that pilots are the most reliable piece of technology on that airplane, and that technology does fail all the time, whether it's in an airplane or somewhere else. Look how often your iPhone has to do an update, right? So we need to make sure that the technology supports the pilots in that critical thinking that only humans can do.
Yeah. So, I want to talk to you a little bit about, you've been in this industry, pretty long time, and now from a 30,000-foot overview representing almost 80,000 pilots, do you think we're still in a pilot shortage?
Yeah, look, so not in the United States. Yeah. I would hope that the hundreds of pilots that are currently on furlough from various airlines and all the young pilots that thought they were going to sail to the airlines without having to spend considerable time at the and building time or at the regionals, they'll tell you no, that the hiring has slowed down significantly. We did have basically a supply chain issue after COVID because so many pilots retired. So many pilots got downbid, so they all had to bid the other way, that there was schedule disruptions, mostly airline induced. It comes and goes, right? You've been around long enough to see that there'll be years where there's no hiring, and then there's a period of years where, the stars align, where some pilot goes to a lucky young man or woman goes to college, comes right out of college to a regional, to an airline in their mid-20s, and they have a stellar career, where there's times where you're at a regional for 10 or 15 years before you can make that jump to the main line. So we're good here in the United States.
Got it. So, I had Chair Hamidi from the NTSB on yesterday, and she has very strong words about pilot mental health. Nothing new. She's said it before, but she reiterated again that the FAA could do better. Do you all feel the same way?
Well, look, it was a step in the right direction where they had the ARC, which ALPA was proud to co-chair. So it was the FAA industry and ALPA were the chairs of the FAA mental health rulemaking committee. They came out with over 20 recommendations. Those recommendations are being implemented. We can always do more. That's why we're proud to be with the piece of legislation on mental health that is now moving through Congress to move things along on that. So we can always do more. It's great that it's now finally being recognized and destigmatized, so people don't have to hide their conditions and can go seek the help they need.
Right. So, kind of my last question here, maybe second to last question, is around public charter operators. Again, something Alpa's talked a lot about. I won't say any more. I want you to talk a little bit about Alpa's feeling about. We won't name names, but we know who they are.
Well, look, you're hitting all of them here, man. I got to give you credit. You're doing well. So, public charter. There's a loophole in 380 that allows it in very limited circumstances. Unfortunately, predating both of us, this loophole's been allowed to be used for far more than it was ever intended. We fought hard in the 90s to get one level of safety. I started as a Brasilia captain flying 135 with 30 passengers in the back. And we didn't have a dispatcher. We didn't have all that stuff. And then we fixed that. Well, now they're trying to go back that way. They're allowing 30 passengers in an airplane under Part 135. That's just not appropriate. The traveling public deserves the same level of safety when you buy an airline ticket on a scheduled carrier.
Right.
And we're gonna do everything in our power to shed sunlight on that and make sure that we close that loophole to the extent possible.
Got it.
Because that's not how it was intended. To be clear, but now they don't know how to put. They don't know how to put the genie back in the bottle.
Right. So I want to talk to you. For last thing, has been more recent event is ICAO's administrator or the appointee that the White House made. I think his name is. Hold on, I gotta find Jeffrey Anderson, former Delta pilot. Why do you all oppose him so much?
Well, look,
or where your concerns lie.
Well, first of all, Jeff is being put up for that position by Congressman Nels, who is a very significant proponent for raising the pilot retirement age. That is Jeff's issue. Jeff is there to raise the pilot retirement age. So that's policy that was set last year in the FAA reauthorization bill. This administration, Secretary Duffy, have said that is settled as far as they're concerned.
Gotcha.
But they're trying to reopen this debate. So Jeff didn't come into ALPA to try to change ALPA's policy. They didn't, go try to study or collect data. They just went VFR direct for a term here.
There you go.
To Congress and try to represent themselves as ALPA pilots that want to raise the age and so on. So our members have significant heartburn with that, and Mr. Anderson, we need an ICAO ambassador that is there for the right reasons, not to be there on a single issue to, go back to their constituents and say, yeah, we changed something that was already settled.
Gotcha. So before we head out here, I want you to talk about, again, you've been a pilot a long time, you've been a professional pilot, now running the world's largest pilot union. What message do you have to the next generation of pilots?
Stay engaged, right? So being a pilot has to be about, especially an airline pilot, has to be about the love of the job. If you get into it because, look, I take pride in the contracts we've negotiated. Right. When I was at Delta, we've led the industry and getting our members what they deserve, right? So people look at that and go, oh, yeah, I want to do it because of the travel, or I want to do it because of the pay, or I want to do it because – no, you got to do it because you love it. and stick with it because you love it. Because there's going to be bad times. I was furloughed. I went through a bankruptcy. I lost my pension, but I love it. So I stuck with it. A lot of pilots end up getting out of it. So do it because you love it. Stay engaged. When you get to wherever you go as a carrier, your airline, be part of your union. Get involved. Make a difference. If you don't like something, that's why our organization is so good. You get involved and you change it. So get involved, be engaged, make the industry better, and be part of it. So
that's great.
That's what I got for you.
Well, Captain Ambrosi, thanks so much for coming on and
man,
joining us
thank
here at
you.
Oshkosh.
Appreciate it.
Beautiful day out here.
Yeah.
Hope you have a good rest of your day down here.
Yeah, before it gets too hot, enjoy today.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. We are back with Oshkosh Live, powered by Redbird Flight. Thank you, Kaylee. You're doing I appreciate the heads up there. We now have our next esteemed guest, Ryan. You know this gentleman well.
Ernie Meeks. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
We saw you last night, but it's good to have you here on our set and talk about all things pilots
Man,
today.
I love it. I love it.
It's what you do, right?
Yep.
You know a few things about that.
No, it's
you
fun.
You do. So, you've been a professional pilot a long time, but tell us about your background. People know who you are from YouTube, a lot of people.
Yeah.
But talk about your background and how you got started.
Yeah, I got started. My dad was in the Air Force. He was basically a mechanic on the F-4. From what I remember, that was his last part in the Air Force. So I was probably 5 or 6. He would take me out to the flight line. I would see these guys get dressed up in G-suits and on helmets and go to the airplane, and I thought, that's what I want to do. I want to be a pilot. So it just kind of started from there. Went to ASU.
Go Sun Devils, man.
Yeah, go Sun Devils, right?
Yeah.
I did not get a pilot slot right out there because, again, I went to ASU and I had a great time there. So I learned a little bit of I learned a little bit of discipline not getting that. That was kind of my defining moment when, they only handed out 2 slots. They handed out to 2 of the best people in the class, and I wasn't one of them. And that was the first time I noticed that, hey, you know what? I got to be a little bit more disciplined if I really want to be somebody, right? So buckled down, eventually got a pilot slot in the reserves, flew C-5s in the reserves, and then I transferred to the Air National Guard in Phoenix, and then I finished up my 14 years there.
Nice.
Now, while I was in the Guard, it's a part-time job flying the KC-135. I got a job flying Part 135 charter, so I dipped my toe in that. I liked it and enjoyed it. Went to NetJets for 2 years. Enjoyed that, and then eventually got on with Southwest. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Captain, got on the interview team early on, was doing that all the way up until April of last year, and then actually April of this year. And then we have a couple more ventures that I'm starting to spend more time in, Aviator Intelligence, Aviator Pro. So
yeah,
it's been a wild ride.
That's great. Well, so you have a very large YouTube audience, Instagram too. How did you get involved in that? What made you want to go out and do that?
It's so funny. I am the last guy that would be on social media. I'll tell you that right now.
Were you on social before you started this enterprise? Really?
No,
okay.
I was not. So the genesis of all the social media stuff was my daughter. She was going to UND at the time, and she wasn't sure that she wanted to continue and be a pilot. And I thought, oh my goodness, I was at Southwest at the time, and I thought, if I could just maybe highlight what it's like to be here, maybe it would convince her. My intention was maybe it would catch on with her friends up at UND, and maybe it'd be a UND thing, and maybe that would influence her to kind of stick in there. And so yeah, I got on. I go, you know what, Google how to make YouTube videos, and that's how it started.
Before the days of AI and all that.
Before all that, I was taking notes. It was like a college course, man. I was trying to figure it all out.
I mean, I think everybody wants to be in the creator economy in some way. Well, let me ask you first off: influencer, content creator. How do you prefer? Which terminology do you want to go by?
I don't know. I'm still I still feel really new at this. I don't know. I put out content, and if people love it, then that's great, and I'll make more of it. And I'm starting to change into I did interviews for over a decade. So now what I want to do is really, my daughter's gone, got her CFI, all that good stuff. Now what I want to do is help the next generation of pilots make it out there, because helping my daughter was very rewarding, and changing that that kind of dynamic in my channel to show everybody what it's like, and maybe start getting into a little bit more nitty-gritty stuff on like interview prep and stuff.
So what lessons have been, whether hard-earned or came over time, as far as to make it successful, to grow an audience on YouTube or Instagram? Like what tricks, did you learn any tricks? Or?
You know, I didn't. I honestly just stayed authentic.
Sometimes that's the best way to do it.
No, that's true. Like, it was total dumb luck. I mean, I hope to present myself as a real, genuine, authentic guy. So whatever I do, you know, whatever I wear, whatever I talk about, I have knowledge in it, or I utilize whatever I'm doing. You know, I flew a Cirrus for a long time. I love Cirrus. And I just love aviation. So I just was like, hey, here's my life. And I'm shocked at how many people thought it was interesting.
And now your daughter, you probably have more fans and followers than her entire friend group combined. And now Dad is like super cool, right?
It's pretty funny. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I'm the most least likely guy to be in this position. I could assure you. That's
great. So, you know, you've been around, you flew a long time, you know, Southwest. How many years do you have at Southwest?
Almost 14, actually.
Okay.
Coming up on 14.
There you go. So there's been a lot of ebbs and flows in this industry. You know, a lot of prospective pilots are out there, you know, getting their CFIs and starting to feel, whoa, like we're not in the, I call it, you know, the panic hiring boom anymore.
Correct. Yeah.
What do you say to them, you know?
You know, just from my perspective, I think haven't seen the full cycle. So, you know, I started doing interviews right around 2013. 2014 and up to basically a decade. So I actually saw the slow ramp up and, you know, the peak, so to speak, and then now it's starting to kind of drive down with just the dynamics, what's happening with Boeing, and, you know, there's a lot of stuff out there that's causing a slowdown. It happened in the past. It's going to happen in the future. So my advice to people is just to keep doing what you know you're supposed to be doing, right? Like flying, getting advanced ratings, moving up to more advanced airplanes, trying to get those jobs without job hopping, if that makes sense. You know, stay at a position, become a first officer, captain, maybe a check airman, and then maybe it's time to move on. But there's a lot of, there's a lot of nuance in that too. There's companies that are downsizing, and maybe there's not a lot of opportunity there. So it really is a unique, you know, it's unique to each person, right? It's kind of hard to generally, you know, spread a general blanket. If I did, it would be just to keep flying, get advanced ratings, get your degree, and, you know, just network, because that's the biggest thing.
We see you rocking the Aviator Pro merch, so maybe we want to give you a chance to talk about that relationship, that partnership. You were talking about it before the segment started. Tell us a little bit about that.
No, Aviator Pro, so I worked with a flight school called Sierra Charlie back in the day, and Luke, who is a good friend of mine, actually helped my social media channel get going. He was producing a lot of the stuff, and he asked me, he goes, hey, I'm starting this new venture. Would you mind, you know, doing a couple videos in there? And I said, absolutely. So, you know, it's more just trying to help out. And I've seen the product. The product is incredible, and I'm proud to be a part of it. But you know, it was just an opportunity to kind of help another friend, you know, with his business, you know, maybe hopefully achieve a little bit on that. And you know, it's all about helping each other out.
Yeah,
like, that's the reward that I get
from
it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we might have Luke come join us, too, to talk about Aviator Pro more. And
it is amazing.
Yeah, it's an amazing product. Yeah. Actually, we're doing some work with them and flying and stuff like that, too, you know, some partnership stuff. But, yeah, it's a really interesting product.
So what is your most viral piece of content thus far in your content creator? Which one has gotten the most reach? Do you know?
You know, I don't know.
Or what's your favorite? What was your favorite one to do?
The favorite one to do?
I know it's hard to pick. It's like
it is hard to pick. I love the Hawaii stuff.
Yeah.
You know, anytime I can highlight going to Hawaii, I love it because I love being out there. I love the islands. I had family out there at one time, and it's like going home. Mm-hmm. You know. So I love highlighting that part. I wish I would get out a little bit more because I pretty much fly. I get there. I go work out. I go to a nice restaurant, eat, and then I go to bed.
Yeah.
So you know, it's kind of like I wish I had a little bit more time to go explore and then kind of show. You know, Paul from My Layover Life does an excellent job of that. And, you know, I wish I was getting out a little bit more.
You must have the best view in the world coming into Hawaii. I'm just thinking like Hawaii Island.
Or the inner island stuff.
It's unbelievable. Flying inner island is probably my favorite type of flying because we're taking a 737 at 14,000 feet, and just flying across the island. I've seen whales breaching in between, we're heading out to Maui from Honolulu. It's just cool. It's so cool out there.
So for you here at Oshkosh, anything particularly you're excited about, you want to see? I know you're pretty much just getting your boots on the ground here today. Is there any part of the show that you're particularly interested in checking out?
I just want to go and experience. Like, it's so big that I have not had the chance to see everything yet. I haven't gone out to the seaplane base, so I think I might try to make it out there. But the problem is once you leave here and go out there, I feel like I'm missing a lot of stuff out here, but I don't want to miss the seaplane stuff. So
yeah, I found that the best way to get around is jetpack because there's so much ground to cover.
Where do you rent those?
Yeah, there's a booth right up here. You just have to sign the release.
You have to file a flight plan
That's fine. I'll sign whatever.
Yeah.
So you've been flying a long time, and a lot of people, they say, I hear it all the time, I don't want to, fly a 737. They have these Airbuses now.
Yeah.
They're way more fun to fly. There's one right over here. Delta just landed.
Yeah.
What do you say to them? You're a 737 guy. Didn't you fly the KC-135 before?
Flew the KC-135. Yeah, I actually have 8 type ratings.
So you're more or less a Boeing guy.
Yeah. I will say my favorite airplane was the C5, the Lockheed C5.
Oh, man, that's cool.
That was my first airplane, so, it's your first love.
Right.
But what I would say to them is, we get that a lot.
Yeah.
I don't want to fly 737 the rest of my life. But okay, I get that. But we don't know what the future holds, right? So, the company may not be a 737 operator forever. It may add so you just don't know between different companies. Like, you just don't know what the future holds. Right. So my advice would be, get out there, try to do your research on different companies. Find out what fits for you. For me, being based in Phoenix was extremely important. So there's only 2 companies out there. I would commute under certain circumstances, but I had my little draft board, and I applied to all of them, and I got hired at Southwest. So that's kind of my advice is just get out there, keep flying, research, apply, network.
Yeah, it's the trim wheel that gets me on the 737. One time I jump seated on one. I couldn't talk. It was so loud up there.
It is loud. And if you think that's loud on the 737, on the KC-135, it's even louder.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it's the transition between the KC-135 and the 737 was very easy because they are very common, the 2
types.
So, it has a big trim wheel, and it makes a lot of noise. All that. So,
I just showed Sean earlier. We're walking by the KC-135 over there, and he couldn't stop looking at that boom.
Yeah. Yeah, you got some footage of it, too.
I do, yeah. We called you the boomer.
I'm trying to influence people, too.
Yeah.
I've got a small group, but I am doing my part to influence and create.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And the guy that controls that is the boom operator.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. That's cool.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. You can check out all his awesome content, Flying with Big Ern, on Instagram. Go ahead.
Why don't you plug? Why don't you give your plug for all where people can find you?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm on Instagram, Flying with Big Ern. Also on YouTube, Flying with Big Ern. I do have a TikTok account. I think it's the real Flying with Big Ern.
Nice.
But we don't post on that very much. But we are, with everything going on, we're going to try to get a little bit more social media out there. So
awesome.
Moving forward. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much for sitting down with us. Have an awesome show.
Thanks, Ernie.
Thank you.
It's a great morning. We're wrapping up another hour.
Yeah,
we
went for a little
Live.
walk earlier, and how did you like it?
It was incredible. It's hot.
This is your year 2, right?
It is my year 2. It's hot out there. The crowds are
you're from
growing
Florida,
clearly.
Man, you think this is hot?
I do. I think it's that corn sweat we were talking about earlier.
Sweat. Yeah, the corn sweat. I think we need to do a little more scientific study on that.
So we got a lot of great shows still to come. Kayla McLeod with Plane and Pilot. Russ Niles later today. More great content, more awesome guests. Stick with us on Oshkosh Live, powered by Redbird Flight.
See ya.
It's happening. Okay. It's happening. Let's go. It's happening. Let's go. Get the bag. Get the bag.
Life's better when you're prepared, especially on the flight deck. Find a Redbird near you and fly like you've been there before.
Next. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Trashed.
Life's better when you're prepared, especially on the flight deck. Find a Redbird near you and fly like you've been there before.
And we're back already with Oshkosh Live, powered by Redbird Flight here at the Redbird booth. The show is heating up. The sun is heating up. The temperature is heating up. I'm here with Kayla McLeod, editor of Plane and Pilot. Good to be back with you.
Yes, good to see you.
Here on day 2. We're going to start off the segment with Kayla